This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Wednesday, May 13. In Squiz Kids today, let the festival of Eid begin. It's raining mice. Ancient soldier in volcano discovery, and Dua Lipa owns the Brits. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
If you're one of the more than 500,000 practicing Muslims in Australia, today's a big day of the year for you as the holy month of Ramadan comes to an end and the festival of Eid begins. Ramadan is a month of fasting, prayer and reflection. Fasting means not eating or drinking, which is what practicing Muslims do from sunrise to sunset for the entire month of Ramadan. No food or water while the sun is up. Maybe you've just spent the month of Ramadan fasting, or maybe some of your classmates have. They'd be the ones at lunchtime trying not to drool while you scoff down your lunch. Today is the festival of Eid, which is also known as the festival of breaking the fast. Practicing Muslims usually start the day with morning prayer at their local mosque, then get together with family and friends, and eat, and maybe drink something, and eat some more. Now that sounds like my kind of celebration. Over 1.6 billion Muslims around the world celebrate Ramadan every year. People of the Muslim faith make up almost 1/4 of the world's population. If you're keen to know more, I've stuck a link in today's episode notes to an excellent BTN news report on Eid. And to our Muslim listeners, Eid Mubarak. Apologies for my bad pronunciation. And enjoy those plates of food today. Now, I've seen some crazy stuff in my time, but never until yesterday had I seen it raining mice. But that's exactly what the internet was treated to after a farmer in Tullamore, near Dubbo in central New South Wales, shared a video of dead mice falling from a grain silo on his property. Lots of rural communities throughout New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland are currently dealing with a mouse plague. A mouse plague is when mice breed so quickly that they number in their millions and march across the land eating everything in sight, which is what some of our poor friends in the country have been fighting now for months. The current plague is the worst the country has seen for almost 40 years, and farmers have called for government help to deal with it. Our thoughts are with you, mouse-affected country cousins. And yes, for the curious, there's a link to the raining mice video in today's episode notes. But be warned, it's not pretty.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Pompeii, in Italy, where archaeologists believe a 2,000-year-old skeleton belongs to a soldier who died while trying to rescue villagers from the most famous volcanic eruption in history. Mount Vesuvius is an active volcano just to the south of the Italian city of Naples. 2,000 years ago it erupted, sending poisonous gases, mounds of ash, mud and rivers of molten lava down onto the city of Pompeii. Very famously, many of the inhabitants of Pompeii were mummified by the ash, mud and lava, and their remains preserved for future generations like us to uncover and marvel at, which is exactly what archaeologists have done this week, uncovering a skeleton they believe belonged to a soldier who had been sent by boat to rescue the residents of Pompeii from the volcano, but was knocked down by the force of the volcanic eruption and died on the beach, surrounded by 300 people he had come to rescue. There's a link to photos of the skeleton in today's episode notes, and the soldier's sword that was found near him. Because who doesn't want to see a photo of a 2,000-year-old skeleton?
Pop Culture Corner.
Girls ruled at the Brit Awards in London yesterday as Dua Lipa and the all-girl group Little Mix scooped the pool at Britain's biggest music awards night. Pop sensation Dua Lipa set the tone for the evening when, standing to accept the Best Female Performer award and in front of an audience of frontline workers, she said, while it was great to pay tribute to nurses, it would be much better if they actually got paid better than they do. Go Dua. Taylor Swift flew the flag at the awards for her fellow Americans, picking up the Global Icon Award. But it was British all-girl group Little Mix who generated the most buzz. Picking up the award for Best Group, the girls made a speech saying it was frankly unacceptable that they were the first all-female group to win the award in the 43-year history of the Brits. As the Spice Girls themselves would say, girl power.
Animal Kingdom.
And so we go to the warm waters of Western Australia, where researchers at a university have made a pretty gruesome discovery. A worm that lives inside a sea sponge and has, wait for it, 100 bums. Can you even imagine? Scientists have been studying this particular worm for a while. It has one head, its body grows like a root system through large pieces of sea sponge, and at every point where the long tentacles poke through the sponge and are exposed to the open sea, there's a opening for waste to pass through. A multi-bummed sea worm. Now I've heard everything. And yes, if a worm with 100 bums is your sort of thing, there's a link to photos of it in today's episode notes. You're welcome.
Q&A call-out.
Don't forget, you've only got until Monday to get your questions in for AFL star midfielder Josh Dunkley, who's kindly agreed to answer your questions in our next Squiz Kids Q&A. Josh is a seriously awesome midfielder with the Western Bulldogs, a premiership-winning AFL player and one of the nicest blokes in the league. He's also a proud member of the Swysh community, a great new service providing everyday Aussies with personalised video messages from their favourite sports stars. It's an awesome gift for birthdays and big celebrations, and every Swysh video raises money for charity. Send through any questions you might have for Josh to squizkids@thesquiz.com.au, and for more info about Swysh, check out heyswysh.com. That's Swysh with a Y, or see the link in today's episode notes. Oh, and don't forget, the best question for Josh gets a free personalised video message from the man himself. How good is that?
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What's the name of the month of fasting in the Muslim calendar that came to an end last night? That's right, it's Ramadan. Question number 2. In which country in Europe is the ancient city of Pompeii, which was buried after a volcanic eruption 2,000 years ago? You got it, it's Italy. Question number 3. Name the pop star who won Best Female Artist Award at the Brit Awards and called for a pay rise for nurses. Yeah, it was Dua Lipa.
Shout-outs.
It's May 13. Today's International Hummus Day. Yum, I love hummus. And that's quite timely, really, given that it's the start of Eid. And it's also the birthday of Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, who turns 53 today. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Allura from Abbotsford, Emma from Broadford, Moira and Kobe from Glen Innes, Grace from Northcote, and Anik, who's listening all the way over there in Toronto, Canada. And some belated birthday shout-outs to Chloe from Burradoo and James from Castle Cove. And today's classroom shout-outs go to Mr. Meeson's 5-6M class at Mandama Primary School, Miss Grantham's Year 5-6 class at Chalice Community Primary School, all the Year 5 kids at Good Shepherd Primary School in Canberra, Class 4D from St Ives North Public School, and Class 4B at St Joseph's Primary School in Como. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out. Squiz Kids is proudly supported by the Judith Neilson Institute for Journalism and Ideas.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.